Hello again, it's me, Sarah Lancier. This week I wanted to make a really chill video. So I spent most of the day just tending my house plants and feeding the wild animals in my yard. I'm here editing and sipping tea and listening to the rain. There's lots of traffic going by, so I'm sorry for that. But I'm as laid back as it gets right now, so it's the perfect time for a visit. Plants have been a hobby of mine forever. I guess I must have gotten the green thumb from helping take care of my parents' plants as a kid. To this day, my dad looks after a cutting from my great-grandmother's excuse me, Christmas cactus. Plus, it's relaxing for me, and if the number of plants I have in my house are any clue, I need this as much as they do. These ones are on the top shelf of my desk, which is the sunniest spot in my whole house since I'm in what used to be a sunroom. Also, where I keep my little things like my singing bowl and pressed flowers. Makes for a nice peaceful atmosphere while I'm studying and sewing. So the ivies are in need of a little drink. I have two varieties, variegated and non. I had a huge climbing ivy going right up the wall, but it succumbed to root rot. I overwatered it, unfortunately, and I was lucky enough to have started a new cutting before it passed away. I don't know if that's the right words for referring to a plant, but that's how I'm saying it. It'll take a few years for this one to grow to the same size, but it's starting to climb already, and I have high hopes. My orchid, for the first time in 2 years, is without blooms, so this is my chance to cleanse the leaves and get all that dust out of the way. I wish I had repotted her during the summer. Some things just get missed. The roots are kind of overflowing, and I really wish I had put her in something bigger. But the fall's here, and what can you do? The spider plants are a bit parched. Well, spider and snake plants are a bit parched, but they're pretty hardy, so there probably won't be any harm done. All of the spider plants I have, save one, are from a singular spider plant I received in high school, and I've just been propagating it and taking cuttings ever since. Truth be told, I don't remember the name of this first one I'm watering here, but it's cute and I like it. I think maybe it's called a money tree. Not quite sure. But eventually I'll figure it out. The second is a Dieffenbachia. The third is a Pothos, doing its best to climb over my clay lioness bust. I sculpted her, but I never had the chance to fire her. Then on to the spider plants, and yes, I have a ton of spider plants. I love them. I will not apologize. They are the easiest houseplants. And in the background, there is a fantastic blue morpho butterfly in my collection. I intend to show you all of my butterfly collection, but since this video is going to be too long, I'll have to split that off for its own little sojourn. I also have a piece of my upcoming digital show hanging back there, if you look closely. Eventually I'll get back around to showing you guys The full show just needs a bit more tweaking, you know? At this point, I have too many, way too many plants in this one room. So I've set up the spare room with some supplemental lighting. Not the worst way to decorate for guests, in my opinion. Lemon seedlings are some of the easiest plants to start on your own. Grocery store lemons, just take the seeds out of those and you will do just fine if you don't want to buy them. Get your dose of vitamin C and some sweet new houseplants to show off to anyone who doesn't immediately think you're crazy for bringing your houseplants into conversation. Such as I have done in the past. Yeah. My air plants are on the same tray so they can drink from the overflow from the first batch of lemon seedlings. They're showing some new growth and seem to be as happy as I am to be just hanging out for once. My 3-year-old lemon bonsai I started from seed is doing quite well. She just got her first branches, and I have to say I'm really afraid of breaking the trunk when I give the first shaping to her. I want to create a little bit of movement in there and make her a little bit more shapely than straight up and down. But I'm no professional, so I'm really hoping to do it right the first time and not endanger the plant. I got into this just before the pandemic and have a lot to learn. This little tree, I've got to say, is my favorite. I plan to keep her around for as long as I'm around, and we can, just grow together. This giant is an avocado. My husband, Ben, found the largest avocado I have ever seen. It was nearly the size of my head. And this is the product. One huge, gorgeous tree that is only a year old, and if you can believe it, crossing my fingers for a good edible fruit when it's ready. The trick I use to start avocados is not the toothpick trick, but a paper funnel. You leave just a little bit of room for that seed to peek out the bottom, and then you take the funnel and you put it in a glass filled with water, and the water needs to be just touching the bottom of the seed. You put it in a dark cupboard, and the seed will think it is in a dark and water-filled environment, which it is. So it then thinks, oh, I'm underground, and sprouts beautifully. You have to check it every day, because if mold gets in there, you might be, you might be screwed. Normally it takes a few months to sprout, so don't get discouraged. But once there is a good root ball and sprout that looks like it's about to produce some little leaves for you, you put it in some dirt and put it in sunshine. You can either go with a large pot for a full-grown tree, or keep it in a tiny one so that you can have, say, a desk bonsai or something like that. I have elected to to do both. Yeah, I can't help myself. Um, I have a second regular sized avocado that I started a few months later than the first. But as you can see, the plants are genetically different by their leaf color. Avocados are a plant that doesn't sprout true to seed, which means each seed has its own genetics that won't match that of its parent plant. So you'll get an entirely different tree each time. Really cool, but also a gamble each time you try to sprout a new one. You could get a really nice fruit, or you could get something that nobody wants to eat. That's that's what you gotta bank on when you're sprouting certain species. At the back is some ginger that I brought in from the garden, along with some moss colonies I'm trying to establish for use with my bonsai later. But in the meantime, I think it's pretty, and the more plants, the better. There's a Bella palm down below. It's an underbrush plant, so it thrives in the low light. You gotta think about where to situate your plants that best mimic its natural environment for the plant to really best take advantage of what is there. Um, like the orchid, the avocados really needed a spa day. Just like the deep green of those leaves are so beautiful. Why leave dust on them? The shelves over my kitchen sink have been taken over by, you guessed it, even more plants. I decided to split my snake plants and my ivy and ended up with so many plants. Um, there's multiple lemon seedlings. Some I'm shaping with wire, others I'm putting in pots at an angle and facing towards lights. There are some apple seeds that I pried out of a Granny Smith apple and has produced one sprout so far. I'm really hoping some more will pop up soon. I'd really love to have an apple tree. That would be so nice to add to my collection. There's a little avocado bonsai that is also wired up. It 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 looks a bit naked. She's just a bit shocked from shaping. In time, she'll get better. There's already new shoots starting, and there'll be leaves shortly. Watering is never without a bit of a spill, so nothing to worry about. It's right over the. I found that a friend of mine has also gotten into growing plants during the pandemic and was kind enough to gift me with a mango seedling. It's the real cute tropical looking one that's closest to camera. This one loves dampness and heat, so it got a front row seat for the grow light. I really cannot wait until it's a full grown tree. It's gonna be amazing. One day I'll have myself a little indoor orchard. At least that's the plan. Since I live here in Canada, not many, if any, of my collection would survive outside. So I'm forced to supplement with UV lights. Should I ever get the chance, I'd love to start growing more species. There are so many beautiful and useful ones out there. Studying them all would take forever, but so worth it. Especially the ones being threatened by climate change. Let's go out to my garden. There's a lot of action today. The mountain ash berries are perfectly ripe. It happens every fall, and the robins and starlings know it. They fuel up and fatten up for their migration in the winter. Unfortunately, Canada's not really a good place for robins to ride out the snowstorms. There's one sunning itself, and with how cold it is today, I can totally relate just wanting to sit in a sunbeam. They like to dive bomb the garden, and it's pretty fun to watch them do their aerobatics. My new beastie is a skittery little fellow who is yet to be named. Kind of skinny too, probably a young one from last year's batch of babies. It's only been 2 days since first feeding the squirrel, so it's not ready to eat from my hand just yet. But don't worry, we'll get there. Unlike, very unlike, my chipmunk bestie, Freddie, who has been visiting me all summer. Freddie permits me to give a nice back rub and a little head pat, but only if I keep the nuts and seeds coming. The trust that that wild animal has in me not to hurt it is just amazing. I've had little chipmunk friends before, and eventually we'll get at the point where he's sitting on my shoulder, but probably not before he goes into hibernation this year. Chipmunks are the cutest of the squirrels. Feel free to debate me in the comments. Well, peoples, I've had fun. If you get the chance to get out there and explore the plants and wildlife around you, it's super rewarding and can be really inspiring. I hope you liked it. Have a wonderful day.